What's up, Toddy?
Oh, I'm hurting, man. I'm just hurting. I've been
What's happening?
Uh, well, I've been eating too much for one thing.
I
I'm
think,
not.
who was it that said it's the building phase for going crystalline? That's my
I
excuse
don't
anyway.
know. My stomach's sticking out, and I think I just need to take a rest soon. Soon.
Yeah. Well, listen to your body because your body will tell you, okay?
Yeah, it's telling me. It told me this. It told me about an hour and a half ago. It said you need to rest,
All right.
I've been getting up really early. It's so cool because where I'm sleeping, the sun comes up. Father's sun comes up through the window. I'm sleeping on the couch downstairs. I can't sleep in the bed without Morgan. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
sleep in there. So I'm laying there, and the sun comes up, and I'm like looking at the ocean, and the sun comes up. It's so cool.
How beautiful. Hang on. I'm just
Yeah.
still trying to find.
Yeah. Do what you got to
I
do.
just share it to my page. Hang on.
All right. We got quite a few people here. Raquel Trevino, Jason Archibald from New Zealand's in the house.
Woohoo!
Tia K, Tom Whitebear, Aline, my dear friend from Norway.
Hey, Elaine.
Robin Levers, Stephen Michael Jones, Angel Divine, Mary Cooper is always here. Michael Muir, who's coming on, I think on the 3rd. I have to go check. I forgot. I didn't see his name on there, and I got to go through my messages and catch up. Star Price, Valentin Stepanowski. Hey, he changed his name to English. That's Valentin. We need to get him back on here, that young kid. From, where's he from? Where's he? Oh, he's from Macedonia. Renee Nay Harris, Michelle Weisenberger, Patrick Reese, Lawrence Windle. That was a great show the other day. Lily Howard, Trish Riley, Elaine Leonard, Maria Iverson, Candace Moore, Pia Holland, Denise Chadwick. These shows resonate with you. Please share. There's 30 people in the house with the beautiful Karen Starr with us for the, I don't know, 15th time probably.
You know what? I got in my memories yesterday. It was I think the first show, but we did it on Facebook Messenger, and I think I accidentally deleted it. Because it didn't come up today. You know, like in the memories yesterday, there was sort of the announcement I did. I'm doing a show with Toddy.
Oh,
and then it didn't come up today. So.
Oh, you know what? I think they. I don't know. I noticed that in the archives they don't let you get to past it. Like they only store so many, but I don't know if you look it up by date in the query. You know, when you search, you might be able to find it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I actually did save the others, so it's just not meant to be that first one. We had a few technical difficulties, but all good.
Yeah. So what's been happening with you? What's going on?
What's happening? Just sorting through my stuff and always, arriving at higher and higher truths. Just when you think you understand it, there's always something else to discover. And it's just revisiting some things about money and things about the masculine energy and, probably the same things that the collective's been going through.
Yeah. And you want to shed any light? You want to shed any light on the? Yeah, no, I think this is an interesting. I'm up for the masculine part of it. What has your experience been? What's your observation been? Because that's been a big deal this month, and this month's been a MF-ER.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what the feeling I got is, before when the feminine was rising, and we were doing a lot of our inner work and on the feminine energy, and we were softening and we were coming out of our false masculine, and we were letting go of control, and because originally when we the era of women's lib, when we wanted to be seen as equal to masculine to the males, what we did, we thought we had to step into our masculine energy. So we became more controlling and more assertive and tried to dominate and be equal that way. But what happened is the masculine saw that as a threat and an attack, because it was masculine energy against masculine energy. And even though most of them wanted to welcome women's lib and see the rise of the feminine, we didn't know that we were doing it in the wrong way. I mean, you know, I grew up in the era, my mum was very woman's lib and, you know, controlling. So, you know, I grew up with that concept that to be equal, you had to be, you know, really sort of put yourself out there in a forceful way. And so, and then again, being a single mum, my eldest is 19, so 16 years I was a single mum. I had to be very much in my masculine energy where, you know, protector, provider, decision maker, you know, everything. And it was only, you know, sort of maybe last year I realized that, you know, I had to soften and come into my feminine energy. And then once I did that, that created a space then. The masculine didn't see it as a confrontation. They didn't see it as always on the alert for an attack with the masculine energy. So they too can now soften because they understand that we're coming from a more accepting, open-hearted place. Yeah. And you as the masculine, I don't know if you can relate to that.
Yeah, of course.
Does that make sense from a male point of view?
I didn't know you were going to throw that back to me. I was listening to you intently. No, of course. I think that's what. Yeah, so it's kind of weird because it's like a dance, right? So what you said about the feminist movement, right? I think was very true. Somebody was talking about that the other day. They didn't put it the same way you did, but that basically was saying the same thing. So basically, for the most part, the feminine incarnation had to bring up the feminine in herself, which is that, you know, that what you're describing, to allow that masculine to kind of like, you know,
drop
chill
his
out,
weapons, drop his defenses.
Yeah. So the same thing. Yeah. So the same thing happened then, right? I mean, really, for the masculine incarnation. I mean, he actually, well, the feminine energy rose in him too, really. Yes. But it's just like
because
maybe
the feminine energy can only rise when we feel safe. So once we could rely on the masculine to be, you know, the masculine energy to be our protector and, you know, like keep us safe, then we could soften as females. And now the same thing, once we've softened as females, the feminine energy in the masculines can soften because it doesn't feel it feels safe. It doesn't feel under threat or attack.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely. I can vouch for that. And also, what I observed was the impact. So I said it this way, but just for me, right? So like you got stripped down to nothing, you softened up, and you're looking over your shoulder at that masculine you used to be, where you could be a warrior and kick ass and all that stuff. And you're like, where the fuck did that go, man? Doesn't that come back? And then I saw that come back, but it wasn't in the reckless abandon of the old masculine. It's in like this powerful, silent, confident, and it's very, very powerful. But I watched it. I watched it occurring in men and women, and I thought that was really cool because I saw a lot of women stepping up and saying, I'm here, I'm going to do this project, or I'm going to be on camera. I mean, it was like really, really, you know, it was really apparent to me this past month, although this was a tricky month for everybody, I think.
Yeah. You know, instead of fighting for our place as equals with the masculine, you know, we learned that if we could soften, that if we weren't in that attacking phase, if everyone just softened and just let be and accepted and didn't try to keep changing the other, but came with compassion and humility, that, you know, there was an equal place for all of us.
Yeah.
And the war is over. And
yes,
that's, you know, over. The war of the sexes is over because we're all softening and we all accept, and, you know, we just allow people to be on their journey. And, you know, instead of trying to change them, just allow them to be and just accept that, you know, we've all got our divine place in the plan.
And then we have a new form of insanity.
Oh, you chose that one first, did you? Okay.
Well, it's a good lead in.
Yeah, I don't think I've read that one on here before. So let me
The
just look
war,
it
the
up.
war is over. The old insanity is traded in for a new insanity. Let's see what this one's about.
Okay. Insanity. Do not fall in love with me. You know that will mean trouble. I'll blow your mind, waste precious time. Insanity is my promise. Do not fall in love with me. You know that means destruction. Ego naked, fear seduced, lips feeding your addiction. Do not fall in love with me. You know that means surrender. No more fighting, no more war. Love's victory will be humbling. Do not fall in love with me. You know that means redemption. You will rise up a greater man, love made in your perfection. Do not fall in love with me. You know that will mean heaven. I'll burn with you, I'll melt with you, love firing, sweet obsession. But if you cannot help falling in love with me, just know that means forever. Etched in my heart, wrapped in your arms, entwined as sacred lovers.
That's hot, man. That's hot. Okay, I'm gonna have to get back over here. That was
Like that one, Teddy?
Is that a new one? Is that a new one?
No, it's not. It's actually a few months old, but I didn't think I read it last time. So
no, I don't think you did either. I would remember that one. That gave me a shiver. Mm.
Yeah. Well, I guess you'd relate to the journey there.
Yeah, I can relate to it. Melting like butter. Yeah. So
a beautiful journey.
Yes, it is. It is. It really is. God, it really is. Mind blown. Mine's blown. I'm and all month long. And I remember doing a show with Allison Engel, who was supposed to do it today, but we had some problems, so she's going to come tomorrow. But doing one right before this Mercury retrograde thing, I never pay attention to stuff. It just doesn't mean anything to me. And the equinox, the supermoon, but man, it was obvious something was happening. You could see it every time you put it on Facebook, and people just wiling out, man. It was like whoa, but it was nice because no matter what anybody was doing, what I saw was a lot of raw, real, authentic vibration. Like no matter what they were saying, like if it was something that wasn't that great, maybe or whatever, but at least they were just being honest, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And we all come in with a slightly different perspective, different experience, different wounds, different healing, different journey. And that's the great thing, as we just all share our truth. And, some resonate with me, some resonate with you, some resonate with both of us or whoever else on the journey. And, that's just the thing, isn't it? Just to share ourselves for the sake of our own healing, not so much. I mean, I find I don't share my work to say, look, this is how it is, and I just share it for my own journey. I put it out, and it's still a challenge for me to share some things that are, personal, but I keep pushing myself to that edge because this is all intertwined with my own self-worth. I mean, I shared my story before about, 2.5 years ago, I wasn't writing anything, and then it started coming through, and it's beautiful, all the people that do like or comment on my work, and it's it's still amazing, and so I just say thank you for that. And so I just share for my own challenge, my own growth, and sometimes I post stuff that I think, people won't maybe agree with this or resonate, but it doesn't matter because it's all about me.
Exactly, man. I went out to the ocean and did a spirit walk on the jetty about a week ago, and I said it later. It wasn't me. There was something going on, and it was like a huge response to it. Somebody wrote me, and they said something like, "Thank you for," and I said, "No, you don't understand. I'm a spirit walk began, 3 years ago, whatever, when I started doing them. It's just what I would do in my own conversation with the universe. So I thought one day I'm just going to bring people into it. I remember the night I did the first one, and that's what I told them. I said, as individual goes, so goes a collective. I hope there's a great, a message or whatever, something happens for you, and that's great. But that's really just me talking to me. It's just me talking to the universe. I'm talking, even if I'm using words like y'all or we or whatever, it's really me talking to the universe, me gaining these epiphanies and revelations and coming to these conclusions. It's just me talking to the universe. And that's all it really is. So I totally get what you're saying. I can totally relate to that.
And, sometimes people, or, guidance sessions I'm doing with people, are at that stage, they want to share themselves through their writing, but they're still too afraid. And, I say, a lot of my posts, not all of them, but they're written just for me. And I don't write them with the aim to share them on Facebook. I write them for myself, or I write them to someone else, or they come from something that, I've just been pondering in my own mind. And I think that's when the authenticity comes across, and without the fear of what others think. And they don't all get posted. I mean, most of them do now, or I can tweak them and make them Facebook presentable. But that's the way to do it. And,
are they like adult rated or something?
Some.
I'd like to hear one of those.
Some versions only Jason gets, and they never.
Holy shift! Yeah, that's pretty cool. I get that. Yeah, y'all better be careful. Somebody might hack into you, like WikiLeaks or something, and you're in trouble.
They'd get a kick out of it.
Oh, I bet they would. They'd get more than that. They'd probably start a new genre. Greatest version.
Okay. So this is about the masculine, when they were going through a lot of their wounds and sort of having a rough time. This one came up. You think because you're broken, I cannot love you as before. Now I've seen you at your worst, destroyed and naked on the floor. Not only will I love you as I did, I now have more of you to love, darkened aspects that were hidden, revealed to shine their truth on us. Maybe I see it differently to you, the way I witness your destruction, knowing how all your broken pieces will now rebuild your greatest version. So I'll pick up every bloodied fragment and gently kiss away the pain. Then I'll love your hell some more until you're smiling once again. Then once you're ready for new heights, go wash the dirt up off your knees, rise empowered by your strength, and know that love has set you free.
Wow. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one either.
No, I haven't. I tried to pick ones that, I hadn't used before. So they're all relatively new in the last 6 months.
Very cool. That's very cool. Sorry about that too. I just got a note. I double booked. I double booked like 3 people today. It's okay. Somebody said something about your book. Did I see
it's coming?
That?
It's coming. Well, I had a bit of a...
So she said, Raquel said, you have to buy the book to get the explicit ones.
No, I share everything that I would publish. I already share on Facebook, so it's all there out there.
Let me just tell Michael Muir.
Some things you have to keep private, I mean, I already share a lot of myself, and I really try and find that edge between, being real, authentic, but obviously, there's a certain part that you have to keep private and, just within.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally get that. Yeah, I've written, I know it's kind of might have been a while, but I've written 2 or 3 things to Morgan. I never posted, And
as writers, it's an easy way to express ourselves, I find, just sort of, just writing. It works for me.
Yeah,
and it's a beautiful format because you can be so expressive and often for me it's easier to write than say things face to face, even though I'm getting better at that too, but it's a beautiful medium just for us writers to express ourselves. So why wouldn't we do it? Also write for other people that we want to communicate with.
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. The thing is I'm getting to where I'm not writing that much anymore, though. I'd like to be writing, but I'm not writing hardly at all. I can't even. I might write something once every 6 weeks now, like something where you just, where it just streams out of you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like these. Do you work on these? I mean, I know, like, I would write a bunch of them, and then I might go back and tweak a little bit, but that's pretty much what you see is what you get, right?
Yeah. I find I have to pretty much write them in the moment so that they're authentic. Sometimes, I don't have time to finish one, and these poems that I put on the memes, the other prose pretty much comes out bam as it is, and is fine. But if I find it's hard, I like to do it in the energy, because I really take to my heart and just try and write exactly what I'm feeling. And I find if you give it too much time, you lose that moment of opportunity. And for me, because I only like to write my authentic truth, if I'm not in that moment, I don't, it doesn't do its thing for me, so I've got a lot of unfinished stuff that I never wrote. And even with the prose, my other posts, the same, sometimes I'll think, I should go back and finish that, but it's something that's past for me. It's not in the moment. And so, it's out of alignment with where I am currently. So it doesn't get finished.
I totally agree. I know what you're talking about. I totally agree. I'll see stuff pop up on the memories, and I can tell they weren't finished. And then I'm like, man, I'll read it. I'm like, wonder if I should repost this. And I'll read it. I'm like, no, can't do it. You don't feel it. I don't feel it anymore. Echoes of love. Right. Echoes of love.
How do I express what I'm feeling for you? How I'm seeing myself in everything that you do? The male version of me, if I was born a man, strength with gentleness, humble and kind. How can I not love what I see in your eyes, the reflection of me so divinely disguised? For you are in me and I am in you. There's no separation, only echoes of love.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what is the status, were you saying, what is the status of your book?
Oh, well, it went to proofreading. And of course, I presume they all do it to start with. It goes through a computer program.
Yeah.
So the computer program tried to change all my poetry into 3D stuff and totally lost all the vibe. So they sent it back to me, and it had a whole lot of red lines with it. And I started going through, and I thought, I just can't do this. It's just got to be read by a human to proofread it,
Yeah.
So I sent it back, and it's still in the process of being read by a human proofreader.
Yeah.
But hopefully, in the next, let's say, hopefully, 4 months or so, 5 months maybe, it'll be out in bookshops, and we'll go from there.
So you mean to tell me that it because I've done it before, and they send it back, but it's just grammatical or spelling. Okay, that's what I remember. So yours, it sounds like they actually tried to change the words you used.
No, it probably was just grammatical. I don't know. And obviously poetry, and I found this, it's not just the words, it's the actual presentation, how you write it, the format, the shape, the energy you give it. And I've noticed myself, I used to write, even with my posts, very traditionally in paragraphs, and I've noticed that too has gone, more vertical, and it's just the energy and the whole shape of the piece of writing. It's not just the words.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, there's like I did one today, just a little short one, and it looked like it had a little pregnancy in the middle of it. I'm like, I can't do that. It's got to be like, it's got to have some symmetry to it, because that's part of the vibration.
Well, it's the whole piece of creative work, isn't it? It's as I said, the words are the last thing that come through. It's the energy, it's the frequency that comes through with the words and with the writing and the spacing. And if you do it authentically, see, when we went to school, we were taught we have to write this, this, and this. We have to write in paragraphs. We have to write with an introduction, a conclusion, all this stuff. And it takes away the whole, you know, the focus was on the words, whereas I was very much indoctrinated in that school system. You know, English was my best subject, and having a mother as an English teacher, you know, very much in the precision. And it took out the creativity of the writing. You know, we were taught how to write a poem. The poem has to be, you know, however it is, you know, different types of poems. But I didn't realize until now I'm writing that took away half the energy of the poem, the creativity, because once you try and fit it into a format, it's no longer your creation. It's fitting into the template of somebody else, and this is what the school system does to us creatively.
Yeah.
So now I just, you know, have got more confidence to actually present it as I want to present it, and just know it's all part of the creative process.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know when I was a kid, I used to read poetry, and I used to read E.E. Cummings. I don't know if you ever read his stuff, but he uses only lowercase, right? And
Okay.
there was other ones that did certain things like that, and that's why I like to like rap it, you know, because it's like urban slang form. You can play with it. Everything is it's like a free for all.
It's the expression of you coming out. I mean, you know, at school, I was not into poetry. And it's interesting because the only poet I remember studying at school was John Donne, who is a metaphysical poet. And even though I wasn't spiritual at the time, or hadn't even started my journey, I was very much, you know, 3D and well, I guess on the outside. That's one poet I remember. And I was, you know, that probably awakened me somewhat, but you know, I wasn't into poetry at all until, you know, November 2016, when my poetry started coming through. You know, I hadn't written anything since I was at school, not even enjoyed reading it, you know. So I really sort of came into my creative flow then. And for anyone who doesn't know, that came through with meditation. So if anyone, you know, is looking for their creative flair, I always recommend that, or suggest that, you know, you get into and practice some meditation, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, and just connect to your heart and just, you know, go with the flow and have pen and paper there and see what happens. Because, you know, I wasn't even expecting it. I didn't have a creative bone in my body. And then all of a sudden, you know, this poetry started flowing out of me, and that just, you know, gave me the confidence to write more, start writing my other posts, and just, you know, go with the whole journey. So it was really amazing.
Were you trying to find your creativity? I mean,
No,
did you
I always said I was not creative. You know, I'd read things that you know, be creative. Everyone's got a creative streak, and I'd think, damn, bloody hell, you know, I missed out. You know, I never painted. I'd never, well, sang, written, you know, anything, nothing. I would look, well, what's my creative streak? You know, I don't have one. So, you know, it was, but this was all my journey to my self-worth, you know, my learning to love myself, finding something that I had to offer the world, and, you know, and the fact that it's welcomed by, you know, the community and people relate to it. That's just incredible for me, because I always saw myself, you know, as a nobody. And even though I know now I wasn't, that's how I didn't have anything, you know. I knew I was a good person, but, you know, I was just very quiet and bit, you know, of a recluse, and, you know, very much just on my own journey, very internal, not putting myself out there at all. And it was only through this gift of discovering my writing that, you know, I actually found, I guess, my self-worth, which made me, and it's all related to the journey of love, because once you find your own self-worth, you're not looking for someone else to love you so you can feel worthy, because you found it. So this was my gift, and this is when, you know, I stopped looking for that in a partner. So now I've come into that journey of love, knowing that, you know, it's all within me, because I found something to be worthy of myself.
Yeah. And then you attract that which you've become.
Well, exactly. And until then, you don't. You attract other needy people who are looking for you to make them happy, to make them feel loved. And this is why, you know, codependency doesn't work. But, you know, I look back on my journey and it's just been so beautiful because it's all been entwined. And, you know, I know now this is my mission to share this journey into love, which was done through me, you know, coming from abuse and control and, you know, the whole journey to where I am now. And this is how I can share it with other people because I understand all the steps of the journey, you know, where they are now. And, you know, that's a beautiful gift just to be able to share that either through my writing or, you know, in person or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to do any like public speaking? I mean, like,
what am I doing now?
well, I mean, like, you know, like, yeah, I mean, an expanded, you know, like, I don't know, seminar, workshops,
You know,
healing. I
I'm
don't
the
know.
sort of person who I'll always pretty much take on a challenge. I like to be in the edge. I know the only way to grow is to take a step out of my comfort zone. And, you know, a year ago when you first approached me about coming on the show, I was as nervous as hell, but I said yes straight away before I could change my mind. You know, I'll say yes and then I'll deal with it. And it was the same. I think it was in 2010. I bungee jumped, you know, I took myself and I booked it and I paid for it without even thinking about doing it. So I would make sure I did it. And, you know, that's just one thing. And, you know, now if I'm scared, I'll say, well, you know, you bungee jumped, you know, you can do anything. And so going back to your question, look, I would if I was pushed that way, definitely, because, you know, as I said, I'm always wanting to grow. And the only way we can grow is to accept our challenges and, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway, you know. And it's such a buzz. You don't need any, you know, external pick me ups when you've got your own internal buzz and, you know, you're always pushing yourself just that one step out of your comfort zone to the edge. So, you know, if it's in my part, I'm all one for going with flow. So if it's presented to me and in my path, I would accept it, even though, you know, it would be scary, but, you know, that's what it's all about, I think. You know, I'm here to grow to my full potential, my greatest version. And the only way we can do that is to accept the challenges where we guide when they're presented to us.
That's right. Right on. Right on. I mean, I can't say anything to that. Promised land.
Okay.
Promised? Is that what it says? Yeah,
promised land. Yeah, promised land. If you're too afraid to fall in love, then I will take you by the hand, walk you through the veil of reason on towards the promised land. Here will lay beneath the rainbow and wait for you to catch your breath. Check for blood and broken bones, ease the thumping in your chest. Then we'll find that sacred place somewhere deep behind your ribs where your love is locked away inside, begging to be released. Your heart knows I hold the key to unleashing all your wildest dreams, bringing heaven to your earth, setting your love forever free.
Damn.
And it's just, you know, that written to the masculine about, you know, look, I know it's scary. But, you know, I'm here for you and we're going to find that place. And once you do open up, you take the courage to open up, you know, that's the promised land. That's you know, that's what you're looking for in everything external to yourself. But it's there within yourself once you have the courage to actually open up and explore it. That there is the promised land.
Yes, it is. And I guess the that's a really good description what you just said by way of that poem. And then I guess the feminine energy gains something from that. Some kind of, I don't know, what is that? Almost like a birthing, right? Yeah,
but again, you know, anything that I can write about in a couple sense, we can always take back to ourselves. Because I always say it's, and I know you do too, anything I write about is okay on an individual basis. So balancing the masculine and feminine within ourselves. So sometimes it's written on an individual basis. Sometimes it's written in the form of a couple, which and sometimes it's written as in the collective. So,
Yeah.
you know, whatever's happening in any of those three aspects is happening in all three of them. It's just however we choose to present it.
True. That's very
So,
true.
you know, when I'm saying, are you too afraid to, when you're too afraid, if you're too afraid to fall in love, you know, that's obviously written from a couple perspective, but it's also us, you know, it's always fearful, even for, you know, for anyone. And so that's our masculine part holding safety for our feminine part to soften, and the whole journey that happens within us too, because, you know, it's as I say, if you want to grow to your greatest version, there's always somewhere to go, and it's finding that. And, you know, the doors will open, you know, you've just got to walk through the open doors and trust. And, you know, I think this is where we are at the moment, being so conscious of our journey, and we get to a place where we feel safe. And it's not just in a couple or in the world where we created our safety. We feel safe within ourselves. We know that we've reached a certain vibration, that we don't attract pain anymore. We don't attract what we would consider negative circumstances. So I think that opens up to trusting even more. And you just go with it, because hell, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, nothing. I mean, what can happen? What could be so bad that you wouldn't know that you've got the inner tools to deal with it? So when you know that, when you're in that place, you can just let go and just take me wherever I'm meant to go, you know, trusting the divine flow.
Yeah. Because what can happen after all that's happened to us?
Yeah, exactly. What's the worst that can happen? We can, you know, we've been through so much shit to get to this point. We know we can deal with anything. There's nothing really worse that can happen. And, you know, and once you understand energy, that you're in that vibration of love, well, love attracts love. It's only when we're in that fearful place and we were born into that dense vibration that we're attracting, you know, anger and pain and suffering and those things. But once we've worked through it and we're holding the vibration of love, we can only attract love to us. So, you know, there's nothing to fear. Just go with it.
Desley says, do you not think, Karen, that poetry is so good to look back on? It helps with your journey. It helps us to learn about ourselves.
Sure. Well, it's a journal for me. You know, I can remember what I was thinking, what I was doing, what I was feeling for every single poem. It's got my own story behind it. And so, you know, it is a beautiful journey and journal. And when my book comes out, it's sort of presented, and now it's got an end as well. It's sort of presented as the whole journey. So it's definitely, it's a beautiful journal to have. It's such a gift, and, you know, I'm so honoured that to have been given this gift. Yeah.
So does it have an ending now? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I feel it has, because I feel, you know, I worked through all that pain, and, you know, the chapters of the book are sort of, you know, if I can remember them offhand now, there's 11 parts they renamed them, not chapters. You know, it was all about, you know, the first one, like we did the series on them throughout the year. We did the yearning and the loving and the feeling and the breaking and the healing and the rising. And then I added another 4 parts, which I've done divine masculine, divine feminine, and sacred union. And I think just something about the world. I can't remember now, but it's, you know, the whole journey into sacred union, because, you know, I wasn't ready before, because I was still healing and still needy, looking for, you know, someone else to bring me happiness and make me feel loved. So it was the whole journey paralleled with my writing to where I am now. So I feel the book, and this is why I feel that there were delays on the book, you know, because originally I wanted to have it out last year, but it obviously wasn't ready. I think it had to come into the full circle and be presented as a complete journey for the stage that it is now.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this one is interesting, because I was watching the movie Frozen with some kids, and it just came to me, a flash of you know, past life where, well, that too, but it just came to me, the understanding of, so we're often presented with movies and Hollywood's version and books where throughout history the masculine's gone off to war, and, you know, but then he's come home and he's been very open-hearted and loving and, you know, the romantic side. But it just came to me that that's bullshit. That's never happened. The masculine hasn't, after fighting wars every lifetime, has never been able to come home and open his heart, because, you know, it's damaged forever. And so this sort of came through after that. And, you know, it did recall parallel a past life with Jason. And so this was written with all this in mind.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, Frozen. His tears welled up deep inside, chilling the memories of her fire, a shattered heart frozen in time, pain slowly numbing his desires. A soldier deadened by his grief in this blood-soaked human realm, fighting wars that were not his, killing men he'd never seen. You came home a broken man, ice running through your veins, violence pulsing through your blood. I never felt your warmth again. Until this lifetime we are now, I've come to take away the pain. I'm here to melt your frozen heart so you can love me once again.
Damn.
So, you know, war was all these wars that men have fought, and women, you know, it had such an impact on humanity. And it wasn't just the period of the war, the after effect after that of men, let's say the masculine energy coming home to the feminine. It was closed, you know, it was never this romantic, let's come home. I mean, even though, you know, couples continued.
Yeah.
There was never an open. So what the masculine is going through now is the first time since, you know, whenever, since our version of humanity, that the masculine is opening his heart up, and it's just so incredible and beautiful to watch. But it really is, you know, the first time. The feminine has always been aware of that softer energy, but for the masculine, this is a whole new path, somewhere totally new that they've never been before. So, you know, once you're aware of this, there's so much compassion and pride, I guess, for our masculine and their journey, and humility and honor for you men that are opening up your hearts. It really is, you know, a whole new paradigm that you guys are doing, and our masculine energy too, going back to the beginning where we've also softened.
Yeah. Yeah. And that energy of war, it wasn't just the physical, like when we think of war. I mean, it was that, but the energy of it could even be the business world, or, you know, just other aspects of the same energy. Yeah, that's a provocative poem and story behind it.
Well, you know, you think about it, there's always a war going on. How many thousands of years has there always been a war going on? You know, and I think this time is when I read something when we've actually got the least amount of wars going on throughout history, you know, and it was just normal for men to grow up and go off to war, whether they're battling for their, you know, territory, or they're battling for their state, for their country. You know, it's just been the whole process. Men went off to war. Very few men in any of our lifetimes didn't go off fighting a war. You know, they were always in that protective, defensive, attack state, you know. And when you're in that state, you can't open your heart, because you won't allow that, allowing to be vulnerable, to be exposed. You're always in attack mode, you know, defense, and in that masculine energy. So you've never been allowed. Never been allowed to step into your feminine energy. Just throwing my crystals around.
But that's really true. It really is. That poem just really it really captures that. It really does.
Yeah. So that poem was all about that. Okay, this one. I think this is the latest one I wrote. Even though I did put the trigger one in, because I know you wanted to put that last time, that one, Push My Buttons, and you kept wanting to go to that last time, but we didn't have time. So anyway, this one, Love Cannot Die. What is it that we lovers do to make us different from the others? And where is it that we lovers go to make our loving last forever? We surrender to every moment, trusting wherever we are going, loving whatever we are doing, feeling however we are flowing. For loving is what us lovers, loving is where us lovers go, not thinking what we're doing. And loving is what us lovers do, not fearing where we're going. Rising united in our freedom, deeper in love with every now. Hearts melt as we lay touching, with no ifs and whens or hows. Asking no promises for tomorrow, wiping no teardrops from our past. Painting no heartbreak in the future, or ever wondering, will love last? Lovers walk the sacred journey, hand in hand into the fire, breathing love with every heartbeat. Lovers know love cannot die.
Damn.
So, you know, it's like when you get into this vibration and you get it, and you can just, you find your happiness, you find your joy. And so that was sort of an inward reflection on, well, you know, what am I doing now that's different to all the pain and the emotional turmoil that I was in with other relationships? And this is it. You get it, and it's like, it's difficult, the lessons, but God, it's worth it.
Yes. Yes.
It really is, you know, and you just have to, if you want your peace and your happiness and you want this beautiful, loving relationship, you really have to do the inner work and go there. And, you know, I'm living proof of it.
Yeah. And like you said, it can be looked at as an individual, a couple, or the collective.
Definitely. That's it. And, you know, that's the beautiful way, because it's all internal. It's all about us. And what we will see so when we do the work in ourselves, it will be reflected in our relationships with everyone. So if we're holding on to anger and pain and lack of forgiveness, we will see that in our relationships. But we will also see it in the world on a grander scale. But when you do find your peace and your love, and I know it sounds corny for those that maybe, and it would have sounded corny to me a couple of years ago, but now that is my whole world. And this is how we shift into the higher dimensions. It's not a place we go to, and I don't know if there will be an event. I presume there's something, but I think it's an ongoing, but I don't focus on that anyway. So, but it's all taking ourselves to that. Which version of the world are you seeing? Are you seeing the 3D version? Is that what you're aligning with? Because that's what your heart energy and your thoughts are. Are you coming up into 4D because you're doing the healing and the journey and you're working on that? And that's what you will see reflected. You'll start seeing more peace in your life. You'll start seeing more happiness. You'll start seeing more flow, better circumstances, events, people, relationships coming into your life. Keep doing the work, go with it, be grateful for every lesson, grateful for everything that comes your way, and keep rising. So when you get into the higher energies, now what version of the world are you seeing? Same world, different version, but your world, because you've created inside yourself, you're now in a place where you only see that peace and love. You're not connected to anything that's happening in the lower densities, the fear in the world, the wars, the attacks, the collapse of the money system, whatever's going on, because you're just literally in this higher vibe and this is where the trust comes in again. When you get to this place, you know nothing can go wrong, but you don't see it as anything going wrong. And this is how we ascend.
No, you got it, man. And nor the savior programming either. You know,
we've got to take the step and save ourselves. The only way to do it.
Yeah.
No one can do it before. And you know what? That's what makes the journey so empowering. That's how now I can sit here and talk about it. You know, like 2 years ago, I could never have done that. But because I've done it, and I know it's only me that's done the hard work. Everyone else has been my mirror. And when you can not just forgive the people that have brought you pain, but you can give them gratitude for the lessons. You can understand that on a higher level, your higher selves orchestrated this for your lessons, for your growth, for your journey. And you can just give gratitude and say, well, thank you for everything, all the pain that's come my way, because without it, I wouldn't be where I am today.
That's right.
So it's one step further than forgiveness. It's gratitude. Thank you. You know, and if I had to live my life again with every single tear and pain, I would do it to be where I am today.
I would too. I would too. But hopefully we don't have to do that. I don't want to do it. I would do it, but I don't want to.
But that's the thing, isn't it? When we understand time is now. So everything that's ever happened to us is happening now in a different, you know, timeline, parallel reality. It's just that this one we're focused on. So, but yeah, it's all happening.
Well, we were deeply embedded in the linear, and it sure felt like hell at the time, didn't it?
It
was rough,
you know. And because we've lived it and we've experienced it, this is how we've come in and we're ready to help people. Because, you know, how can we possibly understand someone, for me, for example, who's going through an abusive relationship? How could I possibly understand it unless I've been there myself?
No,
how could I possibly understand someone who was abusing their body if I hadn't been there myself? You know, it's all these things that now we're ready and we're here to be able to serve and help others however we can, because we've been there, we understand, we've got compassion. We're not judging people, because how can we judge them when we'd be judging ourselves for the same thing? You know?
Absolutely. Very good point. And the mark of a true healer is, you know, healing what they healed in themselves, basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You know, and just pass on the experience, and it gives people an open door. You know, hell, if I can do it, anyone can do it, sort of thing. You know. Yeah,
that's right. Now this one, everyone, you might want to drink some water first.
No, it's not, Toddy. It's not. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this one is actually about triggers.
Oh, I thought this was the one that that you accidentally put in here.
Buttons. I mean, look, often my posts have got a couple of parallels to them, you know. So obviously, but you know, I think you were just being on the visual there. But yeah, this was written a few months, probably about 6 months ago now, and it is actually about triggers. So sorry, Toddy.
I thought we were going to
push my button. See, it's got the double meaning there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is about triggers. But it's always metaphors. However, like life, you know, it's always got higher and higher levels of truth.
That's right.
All right. Keep pushing my buttons, baby, as only you know how. Then push a little harder until my world turns upside down. Not that aching in my belly, ripped scars open from the past, feeling the human pain again of holding love within my grasp. Always there, just out of reach, here so close and yet so far, desiring your scent upon my lips, resisting the urge to fall apart. Then my heart begins to murmur, whispering, open up your hands, stop gripping onto love so tightly, release its power to expand. For we each need space to grow, to reach our highest state of bliss, creating heaven here on earth, where only us and love exists. So it was just sort of, you know, the early stages, sort of hitting the triggers from past relationships and things. So working through those and just actually, you know, I mean, this relationship here in the beginning called on me to embody every single bit of spiritual truth I'd ever learned. You know, it was, now it's really easy and flowing, but in the beginning it was, but I just had to open up and just let go of everything and just step into it. And I think that was the universe putting me to the test of, have you learnt your lessons? Yes. Great. Here you go. Here's the gift.
Here's your dessert.
Yeah.
So one last thing. So in your book, do you have, is it the poems one after the other in the 11 sections, or is it do you have like an overview where you just explain what this chapter is about or whatever?
Okay. Well, I sort of had to wonder how to do it, because before this relationship with Jason, I had 4 significant when I came into the Love Vibe in mid 2016, between then and this time last year, I had 4 online relationships, connections with men, where I was working, where I was presented with all these lessons to learn, you know, like lack of attachment, go with the flow, all these spiritual love lessons that I had to work through. So, you know, I did that. So what I've done with my book is, instead of following the journey on a linear level, I've made it more on a quantum level, whereas the first chapter of my book is called Yearning. So it's all those ones where I knew there was someone out there for me, you know, in this sacred union, the relationship that, you know, I was striving for. And so they were all my yearning poems. And if you remember, Toddy, it was really interesting because it was the show on that chapter that I did where I actually connected with Jason first up. So, you know, that was beautiful that he came in on that, when I was discussing that chapter. And then the next chapter I did was about loving, because you've got the romantic phase, where it's really easy to, you know, you're getting to know each other and you're loving each other. But then soon enough, of course, the triggers come up. And so I've labeled that the third one, feeling, because it's then we start having to, we're hooked. We've taken the, you know, metaphorically, we've taken the bait, we're in hook, line and sinker, but then the lessons start coming up. So, and often, well, with the other relationships, pretty much that's when they fizzled out then, because, you know, it, for whatever reason, you know, it wasn't meant to go any further. And so then you've got the hurting or the breaking. So that's a chapter. And then you've got, I think, the hurting, and then you've got the healing, and then you've got the rising. So I sort of grouped the poems into those segments, and then now working through, you know, a sacred masculine, sacred feminine, and coming into the last one, sacred union. But there's 11 chapters, and I think there's somewhere there about ones that are just sort of dedicated to, you know, healing the world, those sort of ones that came through. So that's how I did it. So it's sort of linear, but it's grouped linear.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's this is the 6th show. Is this the 6th show or 7th show in a row that I get knocked off at right up around an hour? I don't know what's going on here. Did you notice I left? I left. I had to.
I know, and because I've seen it on your other shows, I knew just to keep on talking.
Yeah.
Like you had something to talk about.
Well, I asked the question. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. All right. I'm going to go lay down until the next one. I really
All right, Toddy. I'll be there.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I look forward to doing it again. Let me know if you're doing anything Easter weekend.
Okay.
Well, I guess it would be your, Easter weekend. We're going to do something special that weekend. I'm going to be talking about it. You take care.
Okay, awesome.
See you later.
Thanks, Toddy. Bye, everyone. Thank you.